I just wanted to start, Jonsal, by taking the time to thank you for chatting with us at the Christian Beat on behalf of
Course.
yourself and Elevation Worship. And we'll start with All About When Wind Meets Fire, which just dropped last week.
Yes, so excited about this brand new album. It is obviously a compilation of songs that were birthed in our church here in North Carolina, Charlotte, at Elevation Church. And so I love the just kind of the spectrum of songs and the vibe of this record on When Wind Meets Fire. And um, the heart of even the title is the day of Pentecost. There was a noise like a violent rushing wind and tongues of fire that fell on in the upper room. And I just love that expression of just the chaos happening in the room and in the moment, and how God sometimes may use something like that to kind of wake us up and ignite our hearts for him, and to go out and to minister for him. But just like this record, I think there's some really powerful songs, and there's some anthems in there, and then there's some down moments, and there's some humble cries of just, Lord, would you fill me again? Would you come and meet me? And so I just love the range of this expression, and I think for anyone who listens, you can kind of get a sense that there's a lot happening, but just like we believe God can still do, and He would want to just ignite His Spirit in us, and our hearts be set on fire for Him. So very, very, very thankful for this project. Very excited that it is finally out. We've been living with some of these songs here at our church for a year and some change, but now to see others get to listen to the full versions, and not online clips and random stuff, random bad mixes. This is a it's nice now to see what God might want to do through this record.
Absolutely. And this is a live album as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about how that kind of enhances those songs? And again, you said they were birthed
Oh,
in
absolutely.
church and just being able to bring that together.
Yes. And so this record was actually made up of two separate worship nights that we had here at church. And like you mentioned, the live component there, when God shows up to meet us, and he lives in us, and so we believe that for sure. But corporately, when we're together and we press into him and we sing songs like Yahweh, we love you, the vertical worship that happens, something in the room shifts, and that is absolutely felt. But I think about the faith of those who are in the room for what is to come. And so a lot of times, we might announce and say, hey, this is a live recording, but this is a worship night. And so to everyone and every voice that's represented, I think about families, and I think about their belief, and I think about what they expect as they maybe sing over people, or they sing in faith for what's to come. That has a massive effect. And I think that this project wouldn't be what it is without those voices, and without the people that make up our church, and how much they need these songs, but also what we want, for those who might hear it for the first time. And I just love that sometimes, even through socials and through YouTube videos, or whatever media, it's like it might end up in a space globally that we would never expect. So here we are in a room recording one night, and a few months from now, we may hear a story of someone across the globe whose life has been changed by just one song. So that is special, and there's a lot of people involved in making this project, and a lot of things behind the scenes, a lot of hands that have helped create this. So I think it's a beautiful offering as a church to the Lord, and we want to bring that to Him, and it's good to recognize that so much goes into a lot of these nights in this project.
Oh, absolutely. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about a track that holds personal significance to you, that has really impacted you over the course of the last year or so as you've
Yeah.
connected with these?
I I'm a little biased when I say this, of course, but my wife is singing on this record, and it's a song called "Great Is," which I get emotional thinking about just the simplicity of when I look back over my life and I've seen how good you've been. Um, that you can't help but praise. Not everything in life is perfect. Not everything goes the way that you want. There's some curveballs and there are some things that might knock you down, but just to rehearse God's faithfulness is biblical, and commanding your soul to declare that He is good and that He deserves to be praised for and throughout all of our lives is so important. And she the way that she delivers that with just so much authority. I think our church, I've seen them uh, take that song and really make it theirs, and it's become an anthem for a lot of our people. And so it's a special one to me. It's one of my favorites, and I have that one on repeat. So I remember at 12 o'clock, as soon as the album released, I'm like, first track I'm listening to. But yeah, that one's nice. I also love I mentioned this earlier, but Yahweh, we love you. Um, i- right now, just to be able to look up and just declare that God deserves that praise, the Bride of Judah, the Lamb once slain, Yahweh, we love you. That is the gospel. That is the reason our lives are changed. That is the reason we walk in freedom and we live these just beautiful lives because of His grace. So when you turn your attention from a little bit yourself and you say, God, no matter what's going on, you deserve the praise. We join with heaven and sing that you are worthy, Yahweh. That is power, and doesn't matter what you're feeling. Turn that song on, turn your attention to the Lord, and I think something will change, something will shift in your heart.
Absolutely. And these being from the church, you've obviously, it's a little bit different than other projects where you don't quite know how to anticipate reaction, but you've from listeners, but you've obviously had some, listeners as you've gone with these songs. So I'm just curious how that kind of pinpoints like what you're expecting responses to be versus how much you kind of just let them find new lives once they're like officially out there, if you will.
Yeah. Well, there is a component of trying to gauge these songs in terms of how they work corporately. I think
Hmm.
about that as a worship leader, and so I'm constantly trying to evaluate. Hey, okay, is this kind of uplifting, and is this uh, helping? You can see and sense a tone a little bit in the body in just the church service. So I think for one, we are looking at that as okay, what's resonating with people? Are can you see a little bit of that outward expression for one? It is hard whenever an album is so new, and so you can't really tell what's um what people are resonating with completely yet. But I do know in church, again, you have songs that are just very more upbeat, and oh, you pray. It's a very vertical song. So no matter what, it creates this sense and anticipation that God is going to move in the moment. So I think about that. I do pray that we can. Sometimes we might get a little impatient of like wanting to hear some feedback or a story, but um, right now we've seen it and lived with it within our church, and now we'll wait and see how people react, maybe online or through other churches if they're starting to use some of these songs.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned before kind of like the mix of, a high energy and the anthems on this on the album as well as some of the softer moments. I'm curious since you are recording this live and doing that, like how some of those change or something like as you're doing it that you maybe weren't anticipating to go the direction that they went, and then it kind of
Yeah.
happened and was that
Oh
moment that
yeah.
you've kind of been speaking of?
That's so fun. So New Thing Coming is a track on this record, and um, Pastor Stephen jumps up on stage at the end of the song and exhorts in that moment, and it's a complete spontaneous moment. I mean, we don't expect it. So begins to just declare, we see a cloud full of, and the room, like, let there be an expectation. He's boldly exhorting. So that was very much, that's on the YouTube video, which you can see. But and also just there's moments like that happen throughout the record, um that, we may, there may be just kind of like this down, like this stillness, and just, you want to sense, okay, Lord, is there something you want to do now? So very try to be flexible. And throughout the 2 nights, we sang 2 different sets of songs. But yeah, just remaining sensitive. And the beauty of capturing in a live setting is that if there is something so unique and a special moment, we can take that and be able to share it. And sometimes it's just for the room, and sometimes God does something like that um, for those people. But the beauty of capturing live is we're able to kind of take that and share it.
Absolutely. And talking about sharing music and live, I know that Elevation Worship has some exciting tours coming up. They have the summer worship nights, and then they'll also be out in the fall again. Do you want to just start with the summer worship night and kind of talk a little bit about what to expect from some of those?
Yes. So Elevation Worship is doing a summer tour called Praise Party, and we have not done a tour as Elevation Worship since 2019. So we are excited to go out and just, first of all, there are some outdoor venues, so sweating for sure, but mainly praising, just high energy. We just pray that God, as He takes us into these cities, people's faith would be lifted. And it's an assignment. It's not just a show. It's not just something that we're, oh, let's, we really have prayed that God would bring us uniquely to these stops and download something that needs to be. So that's our excitement and joy for the praise party one coming this summer. So we're about to head out next week, and we're very excited about that. Also, in October, we are heading back to the West Coast for Elevation Nights. And that is a tour that is an expression of our entire church. Pastor Stephen preaches elevation rhythm, they lead worship. Pastor Holly's up there encouraging and preaching as well. And so um, it's nice to be able to take church on the road and to be able to see family that may watch online. We have a lot of our EFAM who meet us. They call Elevation Church home because they're watching maybe across the country. So it feels like a family reunion in one part, but also there are a lot of guests who maybe have never been to a church service. They were maybe tricked or convinced, hey, come to me, or come with me to this show. But we've seen a lot of God work in that and use people, use that moment for people to meet Him. And I'm excited for and expectant for this Elevation Nights in October.
Absolutely. And I do want to go back the praise party. I think the praise single and track that you guys have had some
Yes.
great success with kind of plays into that a little bit. Do you want to speak about that track too?
Yeah, that is we've seen it almost catch like fire with churches all across the country. And we're even seeing some translations in other countries. And so God is really using that song. And uh, it is so energetic and it's upbeat. And I think it's nice when you, maybe if you start the set that way and just, you kind of like get out of the funk. Maybe, some people come in a little lethargic or a little like, oh, I'm waking up with my coffee at church, and we kick off with that song. There's something powerful when we get into that vein and with that energy, and love it. I love seeing there's just so many of our friends who have been able to do it, and we're encouraged by all that God is doing with that song.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know we're getting close to time, so I'll just let you wrap with one final opportunity just to share a little of your heart and your expectation as folks get to interact with When Wind Meets Fire.
Yeah, I'm just praying that as the Holy Spirit moved in the day of Pentecost, that you would open and invite him to move again in your heart. And maybe this album is a reminder and an invitation, maybe a daily one, or maybe it's, all right, Lord, here I am again. And as you go through this record and as you listen to these songs and these truths that come from the word, God is with you. He's for you. He's not against you. And he wants something so great for your life. And so I pray that it would be a special invitation, but also that you would set up a moment just to honor and glorify him through these songs. And so that's my prayer for this record. And I pray that God would use it where he would want.
Awesome. I just want to thank you again, Jonsal, for taking
Of
the time
course.
to chat with us. It was great getting to hear from you.
So good. Thank you.